Ever get that feeling, like you're drawn to a certain type of person and you can't quite put your finger on why? Or maybe you find yourself, in the same kinds of relationships again and again, even when, maybe they're not really working for you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's almost like there's some kind of hidden pattern playing out, right?
Right.
Under the surface.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Okay, great.
We're taking a deep dive into the world of Jungian psychology.
Right.
And we're going to explore the Anima and the Animus.
Okay.
These kind of fascinating archetypes that might just hold the keys to unlocking some of these mysteries.
I like that. Unlocking the mysteries.
Right.
Yeah. And what's really fascinating about these archetypes, the Anima and the Animus, is that they're not about typical gender roles, Jung actually saw these as kind of like universal blueprints for these energies, masculine and feminine, that are inside all of us.
Okay. So we're not talking about literal men and women here.
Right, exactly.
We're talking about energies.
Energies, yeah.
Almost like these hidden figures.
Well, that's a good way to think about it, yeah.
Within our psyches.
Yeah.
And the sources that we have today break down how the Anima, that's the feminine archetype within men, and then the Animus, that's the masculine archetype within women, can really impact our relationships, our creativity, even, our sense of self.
I think that's what makes this so important for people to understand.
Right.
Because, think about it. Once you start to recognize these archetypes, and how they're showing up in your life, it just gives you this whole new level of, self-awareness.
Yeah.
And maybe even, some of those aha moments about those patterns you were talking about.
Right, exactly. So, okay, let's start with the Anima.
Cool. Sounds good.
It's almost like the feminine side that men might not always express, outwardly, but it's not just about expressing emotions, right?
No, it's so much more than that.
Okay.
Our sources really highlight how the Anima affects, everything.
Oh, wow.
From a man's relationships to his creative inspiration and even, his ability to connect with himself, really, like on a deeper level.
Oh, okay. So his inner depth.
Yeah, exactly. His inner world.
All right. And here's where things get really interesting, I think.
Okay.
So Jung, he proposed that the Anima isn't just this, singular entity.
Right.
But it kind of unfolds, right? It unfolds in stages.
It's like a journey.
A journey, yeah, okay.
And he outlines 4 distinct stages. And each one has its own characteristics and, honestly, its own potential pitfalls.
Okay.
Like each step has its challenges, but also its own revelations.
Okay. So let's imagine it as a journey. Where does it begin, this journey?
Oh, I always pictured, like the Garden of Eden. And there you've got stage 1, which is the Eve archetype.
Okay, Eve.
She's all about instinct, nature, raw attraction.
Right.
Think of those classic femme fatale figures.
Oh, yeah.
In literature and film, you know what I mean?
Right. And there's an alluring kind of danger to those figures.
So absolutely. Yeah, there's that pull, that magnetic draw that can be exhilarating and terrifying.
Right.
At the same time.
Right. And our sources suggest that men at this stage, they can feel both like intensely attracted to this energy, but also kind of threatened by it.
Yeah, it's like a double-edged sword.
Yeah. Right.
You're drawn to it, but also afraid of it.
Right.
It's no coincidence, that Eve is often connected with that, that fall from grace in the mythology.
Right, right.
There's this fear of being consumed or losing control when you come face to face with that raw, powerful, feminine energy.
That's so interesting. And our source uses a great example from Goethe's Faust.
Okay.
Remember Marguerite?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She embodies that Eve archetype. And she captures Faust's attention with her innocence and her simplicity.
Right.
It's that primal draw that he can't resist.
He can't resist, exactly. And then, so if stage 1 is about that initial spark, what happens when that infatuation starts to evolve? Jung suggests that it often turns into stage 2, which he links with the Helen archetype.
Ah, Helen of Troy. The face that launched 1,000 ships.
Exactly.
Right. So we've moved beyond just that primal attraction to something more idealized.
Yeah, more idealized. That's a good word for it.
Right.
It's like putting the woman, the feminine, on a pedestal.
Right, like the ultimate muse.
The ultimate muse, yeah.
But our sources point out that, well, this stage can be kind of a double-edged sword.
Oh, absolutely. It's like uh, the danger here is that you're chasing an illusion because, no real person can live up to that image of perfection, right? And so men who are, in this stage, they often find themselves disappointed.
Okay.
Constantly searching for, the one who can embody this idea, this impossible ideal.
It's so fascinating how this plays out in Faust's story too.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it.
He becomes like completely infatuated with Marguerite's beauty, and he idealizes her as this romantic, almost like otherworldly figure.
Right.
But in doing so, he kind of loses sight of the real woman,
Yeah, he loses the reality.
And he sets himself up for disillusionment.
Disillusionment, yeah, exactly. Now, what about, those times when we're looking for a connection, but one that goes beyond the physical?
Okay.
Something more rooted in like shared values, wisdom, or even, spiritual understanding.
Right.
Could that be where this Virgin Mary archetype comes in?
Right. Stage 3, this feels different.
Stage 3, yeah.
Yeah, it's less about that raw attraction. Or that idealized beauty, and more about seeking purity.
Purity, yeah.
Wisdom, like a connection that's almost platonic.
Platonic.
Yeah. Our sources describe it as like a high priestess energy.
Oh, that's good.
Right. There's a yearning for something kind of sacred.
Sacred, yeah.
Elevated.
Yeah. And it's interesting because even with this stage, even though it seems positive, there could be a shadow side.
Oh, okay.
But the challenge here is that it can lead to splitting women into categories, like good versus bad. Men who get stuck in this stage, they might put certain women on a pedestal, and then demonize others,
right?
And they miss out on the full spectrum of human experience,
right? And it's fascinating. We see this in Faust. After Marguerite's death.
Oh, yeah, right.
Right. Faust reveres her as a saint. And he puts her on this spiritual pedestal.
Pedestal, yeah.
That just removes her from reality. That's right.
Classic example, right?
Yeah, classic example.
Of how, even the pursuit of, a spiritual connection can get distorted.
It can, it can. So we've gone from raw attraction to idealized romance to this spiritual longing. Oh, where does it lead?
Right. Where does the path go from here?
Well, Jung believed that the ultimate goal of the Animus journey was to reach stage 4.
Oh.
Which he called Sophia.
Sophia.
The wise animal.
The wise animal.
Sophia, it's like the embodiment of wisdom. It feels like, we finally gotten to this place of, integration.
Right.
Where that feminine energy, it becomes a source of self-knowledge, of self-understanding, rather than something that's projected, onto others.
So you're not looking for it out there anymore. You're finding it within. Exactly.
And at this stage, a man, he can appreciate and accept, the full spectrum of the feminine.
Okay.
Both within himself.
And, in the women that he encounters.
And that's what makes this stage so powerful, right? It's not about, finding the perfect woman.
Right.
But it's about, cultivating that relationship with the feminine itself.
With the feminine principle.
Right, right. And it's fascinating to see how Faust ultimately concludes.
Tell me about it.
Right. In a way, Marguerite becomes a source of, wisdom and spiritual redemption for him, right? She kind of guides him to a higher understanding.
Understanding, yeah.
It's a beautiful example, right?
Yeah.
Of how the anima, when it's fully integrated, it can lead to real transformation.
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow, what a journey. We've gone from the Garden of Eden to the depths of the human psyche.
Right.
All in an attempt to understand, this fascinating feminine archetype within men.
Yeah.
But we're just getting started.
I was going to say, there's a whole other side to this story.
Right. There's a whole other archetype waiting to be explored.
Yeah.
The Animus, that masculine counterpart that resides within women.
Within women, yeah.
And that's where we'll pick up in part 2 of this deep dive. Get ready for a fascinating exploration of the Animus and its 4 stages. You might be surprised by what we uncover.
I think so, too. It's really eye-opening.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Anima and Animus.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
If you're just joining us, well, we're exploring those intriguing archetypes.
Right, the ones that Jung believed.
Right, that Jung believed represent the masculine and feminine energies.
Those energies within each of us.
Within each of us, yeah.
And in the last segment, well, we went on quite a journey.
Yeah, we did.
We explored those 4 stages of the Anima.
Right, that feminine archetype.
That resides in the male psyche.
Right, residing within men.
And we saw how it can influence so much.
It really can.
Everything from a man's attractions.
His attractions, yeah.
And his relationship patterns, of course. To his creativity, even his spiritual development.
Right. It's pretty amazing.
It really is. It's a powerful reminder that these archetypes, they're not just these abstract concepts. Wow. They're like, they're living forces, Yeah. They're influencing how we navigate the world.
Absolutely, yeah.
And now it's time to turn the tables.
Okay.
To explore the other side of the coin.
Right. The other half of this whole dynamic.
Yeah, exactly. The Animus.
The Animus.
That masculine archetype that Jung said exists within every woman.
Right. So if we're thinking about the Anima as a journey of integrating the feminine.
Right.
How do we approach the Animus?
Yeah. How do we understand that?
Is it a similar journey?
That is a great question. And it's something that, our sources really explore. Just like with the Anima, the Animus, it's not just this static thing.
Okay.
It unfolds.
It unfolds in stages, right?
Yeah, in stages, exactly.
Okay, so each with their own characteristics.
Characteristic challenges, yeah.
Challenges. Okay, so if we imagine the Animus as a journey,
okay,
where does this journey begin?
Where does it begin for women?
For women, yeah.
Well, our sources suggest that stage 1 of the Animus, it's often associated with the warrior archetype.
The warrior.
The warrior. Think about,
strength, courage,
assertiveness.
Right.
That drive to protect, to conquer.
Great. And think about all those strong female characters.
Yeah, no, right?
We see them in movies.
In books, yeah.
In books, mythology.
Mythology everywhere.
Right. The ones who aren't afraid to fight.
It's sad.
Fight for what they believe in.
So women at this stage, they might be drawn to men who embody those same qualities.
Okay, so men who are what? Physically strong?
Physically strong, assertive.
Assertive, okay.
Maybe even a little, dangerous.
Right, so that classic bad boy appeal.
Yeah, exactly, that dangerous allure.
Right, but there's a shadow side to this too, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
What happens when that attraction to strength, it turns into feeling threatened?
Threatened, yeah.
Or even controlled.
Right, it's like how even positive qualities that can have that shadow side,
If they're not balanced.
If they're not balanced, exactly.
Right.
And a woman who's, stuck in this stage, she might find herself drawn to men who are, domineering.
Domineering, okay.
Or controlling, mistaking that aggression for strength.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's almost like they're projecting,
projecting their own
unexpressed
assertiveness onto those men.
Okay.
Instead of embodying that warrior energy themselves.
Right. So they're seeking it externally.
Externally, exactly.
Instead of finding it within. And that's why understanding these stages, it can be so liberating.
Liberating, yeah.
It helps us recognize those projections.
Right.
And reclaim those qualities for ourselves.
Okay, that makes sense. So if stage 1 is about that initial attraction, that attraction to raw masculine energy.
Raw masculine energy, yeah.
What happens when a woman starts to crave something more?
More than strength, more than protection.
More than that, yeah. What then?
Well, Jung suggests that the journey often evolves into stage 2. Which he associates with the adventurer archetype.
The adventurer.
The adventurer. Now we're talking about
freedom, exploration.
Freedom, exploration, pushing boundaries.
Pushing boundaries.
Think about, those intrepid explorers.
Oh.
Those pioneers who set out to discover new worlds.
Right. And women at this stage, I imagine, they might be drawn to men who embody these qualities too.
Exactly. Men who are independent, adventurous.
Adventurous, yeah.
Maybe even a little rebellious.
Right, that rebellious streak.
But could this also lead to some challenges in relationships?
Oh, that's a good point.
I mean, if you're constantly seeking that novelty, that excitement, commitment, commitment might feel stifling.
It might, yeah.
It's that classic tension
Right.
between the desire for freedom
Yeah.
and that longing for connection.
Right, for connection. Yeah.
And it's something that women at this stage, they often grapple with.
They might find themselves drawn to partners who mirror that adventurous spirit.
Yeah, that mirror that reflect it back.
But then struggle to create that lasting bond.
A lasting bond, yeah, because they're always looking for that next thrill.
Right. Always on to the next thing.
So we've explored that raw masculine energy.
Yeah.
And that yearning for freedom.
Freedom. Yeah.
But what about those times when we're seeking something more grounded?
Grounded, okay.
More intellectually stimulating.
You're talking about stage 3.
Stage 3, yeah.
Right, the stage associated with the priest.
The priest or the sage.
The priest or the sage, yeah.
And this stage, it's all about seeking wisdom, knowledge.
Okay.
And spiritual guidance.
So women at this stage, they might be drawn to men who they perceive as mentors, maybe.
Mentors or teachers, yeah.
Teachers, right. Think of those,
those wise old professors.
Professors, yeah.
Or spiritual gurus, the
yeah.
ones who seem to just have this deep understanding.
Right, they've got it figured out.
Of life's mysteries.
And women at this stage, they're drawn to men who embody those qualities.
The qualities, yeah.
Men who are, intelligent, articulate,
yeah.
and who can provide that sense of,
that intellectual
and spiritual nourishment.
Yeah.
But there's a potential pitfall here too, right?
So there always is.
If you're always looking to someone else for that wisdom, for that guidance, you might neglect your own inner knowing.
Yeah, that's so important. It's about recognizing that the true sage resides within each of us.
Yeah.
And while seeking external guidance can be valuable,
of course, yeah.
It's also essential to cultivate our own inner compass.
Right, that makes sense. So we've journeyed through strength. Yeah.
Adventure,
we've been on quite a ride.
We have, and wisdom. Where does this path ultimately lead?
Where does it end?
What's that final stage of the Animus?
Well, Jung believed that the ultimate goal of this Animus journey was to reach stage 4.
Stage 4.
Which is the king or the creator archetype.
King or the creator, okay.
Now, this feels like we're stepping into a whole new realm.
Okay.
A realm of leadership.
Leadership, yeah.
Purpose. Creative expression.
Creative expression, wow. Exactly. And this stage, it's about integrating all those previous stages.
Right.
Harnessing that masculine energy in a balanced and purposeful way.
So it's not just about being, assertive or independent, but using those qualities to create something.
To create something
meaningful.
Meaningful, exactly.
In the world.
Yeah.
Women at this stage, they're driven, right?
Driven, yeah. They have a deep sense of purpose. And a desire to make a positive impact.
A positive impact, yeah. And they're no longer looking to externalize.
Right.
No, they've integrated.
They've integrated that masculine energy.
Integrated it.
Into their own being.
Yeah, allowing them to lead, to create, to inspire others.
Right, and it's fascinating.
Telling you about it.
To see how this stage plays out.
Right.
In the example from our sources.
Yeah.
Remember Jep Gambardella?
Well, yeah, from La Grande Lisa.
From La Grande Lisa, right?
He goes through that transition.
Yeah, from that hedonistic adventure to a more... a sage-like figure.
Right, and it's a beautiful example.
It really is.
Of how the Animus, when it's fully integrated.
Yeah.
It can lead to that profound shift.
That shift in perspective. And a deeper sense of purpose.
Yeah.
It highlights how this journey of the Animus, it's not just about finding, the right man.
Right.
It's about becoming
more whole.
More integrated.
Yeah.
A more whole version of yourself.
So we've explored those 4 stages of both the Anima and the Animus.
We've covered a lot of ground.
It's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
But I'm still curious, how do these archetypes, how do they actually show up in our lives?
In our day-to-day lives.
Yeah. How can we recognize them? At play, in our relationships.
Our relationships, our work.
Even our creative pursuits.
That's what we're going to delve into.
Okay.
In part 3 of this deep dive.
All right. So get ready to explore those practical implications.
Practical implications, yeah.
Of the Anima and Animus.
and how they can offer, well, some really profound insights into our patterns, our challenges.
Our challenges, yeah.
And ultimately, our path to wholeness.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
It's good to be back.
We've been exploring
Yeah.
this fascinating world of Jungian psychology.
Right.
Specifically, the Anima and Animus.
Those archetypes.
Those intriguing archetypes.
It's been quite a journey.
Yes.
We've gone through the 4 stages.
The 4 stages, right.
Of each archetype and how they can impact, a man's relationship with the feminine.
Right.
And a woman's with the masculine.
Right. And we've seen how they shape our attractions.
Our attractions.
Our creative impulses.
Impulses, yes.
And our sense of purpose.
Purpose.
But, as fascinating as all of this is.
As it is.
I think it's important to say,
Yeah.
This stuff can be complex.
It can.
And sometimes a bit confusing.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, it's not always easy to grasp.
And I think, there are some common misconceptions.
Oh, for sure.
About these archetypes that can really
trip people up.
For example. Some people might think that the Anima is just about
finding the right woman.
Or
that the Animus is about, being more manly, right? In that stereotypical sense,
right? It's easy to fall into that trap.
Oh, it is
of thinking it's all about external relationships, or conforming to those societal expectations.
Expectations, right? But our sources really emphasize that these archetypes,
right?
They're about our inner world. Recognizing and integrating those masculine and feminine energies.
Right, within ourselves.
Exactly.
So it's not about finding a partner who, perfectly embodies a certain archetype.
No.
It's about recognizing those qualities within, and working towards a more balanced and integrated sense of self. And that brings us to another point that I think is really crucial.
Okay.
And maybe even a bit daunting.
The
whole concept of the shadow.
The shadow, right. We haven't talked much about that.
Not much, no.
But it seems to be a key part.
It's essential.
Of Jungian psychology.
Yeah, I mean, in Jungian terms, the shadow represents everything that we've repressed or disowned within ourselves.
So those parts of our personality?
Yeah, those parts that we deem unacceptable. Undesirable.
Right.
So for a man...
his shadow anima, that might include, those negative feminine traits.
Right.
That he's been taught to suppress.
Like
vulnerability, potential expressiveness. Or even passivity.
And for a woman? For shadow animus?
Yeah.
That might involve...
those negative masculine traits.
Like aggression,
ruthlessness, or a domineering attitude.
Like qualities that she's learned are unfeminine.
Unfeminine, exactly.
But here's the thing. Jung believed that we can't truly integrate the anima or the animus without confronting our shadow side.
Without that shadow work.
Right. So it's about embracing
the full spectrum.
Yeah.
Right, the light and the dark.
The
masculine and
all those parts that,
that we might try to hide.
Or deny.
It's about acknowledging that those shadow qualities, they're part of who we are. And they hold a power. That we can use.
You can use, right?
For growth.
So.
For transformation.
So, if someone's listening to this and they feel inspired to embark on this journey of integration. What advice would you give them?
Well, the first step is just awareness. Start paying attention. To those qualities you're drawn to in others. Both the positive
and the negative.
Yeah. What might those attractions and those repulsions be telling you? About your own inner world.
So if I find myself repeatedly, drawn to partners who are emotionally unavailable, or even a bit reckless, maybe it's time to examine what my animus is trying to tell me.
Yeah, what's it trying to show you?
What part of myself am I projecting onto these men?
What are you projecting?
Or what shadow qualities am I avoiding within what I'm doing?
Exactly. It's about asking those tough questions.
Right.
And being willing to go deep.
Go deep, yeah.
Into those layers of your psyche.
And remember,
Yeah.
you don't have to do this alone.
You don't, no.
Finding a therapist.
Or
even a trusted friend.
a trusted friend
who can support you.
who can support you
On this journey.
on this journey can be so helpful.
Right. And our sources also talk about the power of dreams.
Dreams. Oh, yeah.
In this process.
Yeah.
Jung believed that dreams are often, the language of the unconscious.
The language.
And they can offer clues.
Clues? Yeah.
About our shadow side. And those archetypes.
Archetypes, yeah.
At play within us.
So pay attention.
Okay.
To those recurring figures. The themes that pop up in your dreams.
In your dreams, right?
What feelings do they evoke?
Right.
What might they be trying to communicate?
Trying to tell you, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just about analyzing our dreams.
Right.
Our sources also talk about active imagination. Which sounds, fascinating.
It's a powerful technique.
Okay.
I mean, with active imagination, you're consciously engaging with those figures and symbols.
From our dreams.
From your dreams.
Okay.
From your unconscious.
So you might write a dialogue.
Yeah.
With a dream figure.
Right.
Or paint a picture.
Inspired
by a dream image. Or even create a scene, in your imagination. To explore.
Yeah.
Those deeper layers.
It's like giving those archetypes a voice.
A voice, yeah.
Allowing them to speak to you.
To speak to your conscious mind.
To your conscious mind.
And in doing so, you might gain a whole new level of insight.
Understanding,
right?
About those patterns. Those attractions, those challenges.
Those challenges that keep coming up.
Yeah, they keep recurring.
So it sounds like there are many paths. To self-discovery. And integration.
It's about
finding what resonates with you.
Right.
And being willing to explore.
Yeah.
Those hidden depths.
The hidden depths within. And remember, integrating the Anima and the Animus.
Yeah.
It's a lifelong process.
It is.
It's not about
achieving perfection.
Right. It's not about reaching some end goal.
No.
It's about
continuously striving to become more whole.
More authentic.
Right.
More aligned with
our true self.
With our true selves. And in doing so, we not only transform ourselves.
Right.
But we also contribute to a more balanced, harmonious world.
A harmonious world. What a powerful thought.
It is, isn't it?
That these archetypes, they're not just
personal constructs.
But these
universal energies.
Universal energies that connect us all.
Well,
I think we've reached the end.
Yeah.
Of our deep dive.
Into the Anima and Animus.
It's been incredible.
It's been quite a journey.
I hope our listeners have found it.
Yeah.
As insightful as we have.
And thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And may this exploration inspire you.
Yeah.
To continue diving deep.
To keep diving.
Into those mysteries of your own inner world.
And until next time. Keep seeking. Keep exploring.
And
keep embracing
the fullness of who you are.